Okay, please. Morning, everyone. Welcome to this session number 419. Today we have this problem. Let me check. Hey, of the elliptical. Try to. Okay, let me check. I had the idea to solve this problem in another way using BPS, but check your. Is the daily challenge? Oh, uh huh. Well, I think that we can try. Um. mm, okay. Link here. Okay, you're given an integer array nums of the length n into the array's queries. We're querying the index I, L, and R. Query represent the following action on nums. Comment the value at index in the range L to R in nums by at most val. The amount is return the minimum possible non-negative value, the minimum possible values of k such that after the process the first k queries in the sequence nums become zero array. Okay, in this case we have this list and we have no this list, sorry, and we have these queries where the first represent the first and the second value represent the index of the range, yeah, L and right. For example, this case is 0 to 2. I think that is inclusive itself index is 0, 1, 2. Okay, and mention that decrease the value each index in this range in nums by at most by 1. Okay, is by at most is I need decrease. Sorry, I need translate this because not great. Okay, at most by 1. Okay, in this case, for example, I can reduce this, and this as a maximum example 1. Yeah, the amount by which value is decreased in. Okay, yeah. For example, in this case, I can reduce the 2, 1, the 0 in 0 because is most value. In this case, the value is 1. That I can reduce less, but as a maximum 1. And this I can reduce in 1, 2. Yeah. Uh-huh. Return the minimum possible values after processing queries. first k queries. That is all the queries. Sequence. Nodes we consider. Okay, got it. I know the problem. Yeah, it's exactly this. I can reduce this value in this range, for example, and I can determine how many numbers I can decrease by taking this as a maximum. Yeah. And what else? And I need to apply this operation and discover if on the final to the minimum possible non-negative values. I think that in on the final, how many positive integers or positive values I have. Yeah, okay. I mm, 1 minute. I think that um, that for two. Oh, mm, okay. Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember one problem similar like this, but to be honest, I don't remember more. I don't remember what is the way to solve. But I think that in this case, my first idea is try to replicate the behavior for discover if I understand the question, because with the experience, you learn that a few times is okay, I understand, and then the final discover, oh my gosh, it's not the right focus. Uh, I had problem. Well, let me check the average of the yes. Oh, sorry, in the constraints. Let me check the constraints first. The length is at least one. The maximum, I think that is 500,000. The values are positive, inclusive the zero, and the maximum is, I think that is a half a billion. Queries at least is one, and maximum is 100,000. The queries, the length is three. Okay, since L and right are inside the length, inside the length, and the values are between 1 5. Okay, this is interesting. Why 5? Okay, this is interesting. I keep in mind this strange that appear 5 only. And oh my gosh, yeah. I think that is her. But well, however, the first that is we have this array 2 0 2, and the index is 2 1 and 2. And here mentioned that the query, we need to apply these queries and figure out how many in positive numbers or positive values I have on the final. But it's not only this. Mention that return the minimum possible non-negative. Okay, the minimum positive integers, basically the minimum. Because in positive numbers, or another way is the max negative numbers is another way to see. Yeah. Okay. Now I think the minimum possible, no negative values. I think that the minimum can be 1, 0, or 1. This is the so minimum value, but in this case, I think that the first is sort by the value, because, for example, if I follow this and the final appear this value, that is a 3, I can make a mistake that apply this operation. For example, for this, okay, the index 0 is between the index 0 and, oh my gosh, okay, it's between the index 0 and this. Yeah, this is the first. Now, if I apply this, I can decide, okay, is try to keep the minimum. It's a little confusing for me. The minimum possible, the minimum possible positive values. Okay, such that after processing the first k queries, but in this case, k means the length of the nums or the queries. Between the minimum possible non-negative values of k, I think that is nums, such that after processing the first k queries in the sequence, mm, medium yeah, but here I have the though. Okay, let me check. I have the idea to replicate this, but I don't understand what is the k. Let me check. The first is for between the 1 and the index 2. Uh, in decrement the values, in this case, this is a query. No, decrement the values 0, 1, and 2 indices by 1, 0, and 1. And in this case, yeah, exactly, is reduce the 2 in 1, reduce the 0, keep in 0 for try to keep the minimum number of positive, and the other is reduced because I have the opportunity to reduce in the next iterations. Now the other query is the 0, 2 again. Basically, I think that is the same. I have in this moment 1, 0, 1, and now I think that I can reduce the 1, this, sorry, this for transform as a 0. Yeah, in this case is 1, 0, 1, and in this case, all of them. Ah, okay, yeah, is K is the home in how many moves I can reduce all the array in zeros. I think. Okay, let me check it. 4, 3, 2, 1, and the query is whatever. The first is between 1 and 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Well, basically all the array. and I can reduce as a maximum 2, means that 0, 1, and 2 are valid. I think that, okay, it reduced to, no, sorry, is this subarray, and I can reduce the 2, the 3 less 2 is 1, the 2 less 2 is 0, and the 1 less 1 is 0, yeah? Now I have this, 4, 1, 0, 0. Now, the next is between 2, 0, 0, 1, 2. This, and I need to reduce as a maximum 1. I think that it's only 1. 4, 1. No. This reducing 1 transforming 3. This reducing 1 is transformed to 0. And in this case, it's not possible to reduce anymore because I don't have more queries. Okay, I understand. I will copy. Okay, the first scenario is this. In this case, I still thinking that the key of this problem is try to sort this, but let me check. The first is between 0 and 2. This is the range, means that I can reduce, or I need reduce these values and taking this as a maximum. Yeah, in this case is 0 and 1. But I need reduce, obviously, where you are using the 0, technically you are not reducing the value, but well, in general, we can take this as a reduce. And okay, the situation here is I need to figure out. Okay, yeah, I think that I need to know the maximum values. Why? Because in this way, I can reduce in less time the numbers, reduce these numbers in 0. Yeah, and yeah, I think that this is part of the solution is sort these values. In this case, I sort by the value in, no, I think that it's enough with the value. The first is, oh sorry, 1, 1, and 3. The other is, well, are the same, 0, 2, 1, and the next is 0, 2, 1. Well, it's the same. Now, okay, if I use this strategy, I can reduce in less steps, I think, in less steps, if I sort this array by the value, I have the option to reduce not the maximum number of elements, but reduce, or the impact over this element is higher compared if I only follow this strategy or this sort. Yeah. In this case, I'm checking the chat. And in this case, if I start with this, I can basically transform between 1 and 1, means that 0, 1, okay, this. And I discovered that don't make sense because it's 0, yeah? And I can reduce 0, and I have the option to reduce between 0, 1, 2, and 3. Well, if I choose the 0, basically keeping the same number, it's done, yeah? You know what? I think that I need consider what happened in this case. I can ignore and don't count this this query, because for example in this case is 0, yeah, and I have the option to reduce this. Don't make sense count, okay, you have 1. No, because and the final is the minimum number of, I think that, yeah, it's the minimum number of queries that you need apply for transform all the values in 0. In this case, don't make sense count this as a valid reducer because on the final um, it's not reduce anything. Yeah, this case is ignored. Mm, mm, I think, yeah, I had this idea, but mm, what happened, for example, if you have like this 1 1 3 um 1 1 10, sorry, here 0 10, there is 1 is 0 0 3, and the last is, for example, 0 to 2 1, and 0 to 2 and use in 2. No, in 1. No, in 2. It's okay in 2. In 2. Okay, the situation, if I sort by the value, I think that doesn't works this strategy because, for example, if I use the maximum, the value as a reference to sort this, the first is this, right? Where I click in, don't select correctly the. This is the first, means that I can reduce this, but if I apply this, for example, between 0 this is transformed to 0, and this keep this, okay, we have 1. Now the next is, I think that is this, is 1 and 1, but that don't apply the operation, is that is not count. Now the next that is this, that is 0 and 0, this, and I can reduce in 3, okay, for example, in 3, transform to 0, and is count, okay, and I have in 2 moves, I reduce all of them in zeros. But what happens if um, mm, 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 I start by the large elements, and is there large elements in the highest value at the same time? Yeah, for example, in this case, I think that is this because it's the largest, is the first, I think that second, and 1 0. Next is this, and for this, well, basically have the same values, and yeah, if I start here, for example, I have the option to reduce between 0 and this in 2. Yeah, basically 0, keeping the same 0, and is only 1. Yeah, I think that this is part of the key. Sort, sort by value, by range, length, and the value. Uh, and again, where after apply this operation, you don't apply any, for example, 0 2 and this is 0, for example. Well, basically you are not applying any value here, you can reduce you can reduce in it's not necessary count this item. You can simulate that this item appear in the final and you never reach. Yeah. Mm, the only thing is we have any restriction about the time complexity. Hmm. Because I'm not sure if I need to apply this operation, basically transversal the array many times. I'm not sure if it's part of the solution or I can use another strategy because if I have a long array and I have very queries very long too, uh, I'm sorry, I need to close my windows one moment. Hey Solaris, how it's going? Uh, 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 uh-huh. Yeah, I have this idea. What happen if I have a long query because the query can be very long. Yeah, between 100,000. And what happen, for example, if you apply this operation and only you have one element inside this range? Another thing that I am thinking is, for example, this is not a good example. This because it's very short, but if I have I have the queries, here the array is this. I'm not sure how many numbers have this. I think that it's enough 14. And in this case, the queries are is between 0 and yeah, something like this. What happened if I have these values? For example, do you imagine that I apply this at the beginning? Basically, this is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Well, I think that this 39, 49. That's it. Yeah, all of them are 0. Yeah, and if I try to apply the next query following the max range, um, that in this case is this, I need to transversal all the array until only for 2 elements, and it's the same example or the same thing that I was mentioned, that if you have, for example, one array with uh, I think that the maximum number of values is a half a billion, and you have, and it's only zeros, and you only have one number in all this. It's not necessary transversal all the array because it's so expensive. I think that you can try to track how many numbers rated at 0 are until the current index. Yeah, like this, for example. Because in this way, I can decide which query I need to use for this. For example, no, not example, but let me change 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah. And for example, we have this. Now, if I only apply this by the range and this stuff, well, don't make sense because it's not necessary. Maybe I only need one query that try to a query that reach this range between 0, 1, the index 2 until the index n. Yeah, I need one query, and I think that I can sort the queries by the index. For this code, for example, if I am searching one index that start here, basically is go in the, or try to search in the query list sorted by the index, and for example, where appear the first number, the first index, the index is this, the first position, that is greater equal this. In this case, for example, is 0, 1, 2. I need search, this is 32, no, this is 32, no. This is greater equal to, no. For example, in this case, in this case, the queries, anyone reach the index 2, but the second parameter reach value. In case, for example, index 2 is this, reach at least the first element, greater equal 1. This case, this is not. I think that where you are using or where you are trying to search the I need to search by the first value. And in the case that you don't find any element that reach this, you can go with the last element that is greater equal this. For example, this 2 is okay, but it's not the last. And more important is not the greater value here. You can move in this. It's the same. You can move. This is not that option. I think that the last is this. The last element Meanwhile, meanwhile the second index is greater equal I, and the value is greater. In this case, for example, both have the same information, is the same, but you imagine that the first contain 1 4 here in step 1 4, and this is 1. Okay, this is the first 0 and 2. Okay, now this is the next 0 and 2. Okay, but the value is 1. Okay, the maximum value is this. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I am thinking in the way to take a good decisions or try to reduce the amount of queries that I need to use for reduce this in zeros. Mm. But now I have a few problems here. How can I track how many integers I have currently? Because if I have here 0, the first time is easy because it's only transversal all the array. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Yeah. And the first appear here. I think that I need one pointer for track what is the where start the positive integers, in this case start in this, and where end case in here. Mhm. I have this means that I need search in the queries the element it doesn't matter the elements that the queries that affect between where I start here, because automatically are discard, right? Don't make sense. For example, if I don't know which index is this, but if the index is 9, is I know in this moment is not part of the answer, because basically affect until this to this, and well, basically are 0, you know. Hmm. With this, I think that I can reduce the number of queries. But now, for example, I think that the complex here is figure out which query. Yeah, in this case, I know that is one query that is start. Is start or only end after this point? Okay, I think that is after. For example, in this case, the index is 1, I equal 0, 1, 2. Okay, in this case, the index is 2. I need one query sorted by the index, the first, the second, because it's the length and the value. I need sort by the tree with the three elements. Is sort. I don't know what is happening with Miro. That change the shortcuts, but I hate it. Is by start length value, the tree. Is the tree. Why? Because I know the first value is used by determine if the query is sorry, if I can use a query. Yeah. In this case, for example, I need one query that end after the number 2, and this item of this query should have the in this option. The first option is that greater equal I. The second is need to be the most large. Uh, and the last is that try to with the maximum value. Yeah, but need to have the 3 elements. Yeah, at the same time. Yeah, I'm not sure if it makes sense until now my idea. Gosh, I have 54 minutes only with this. Well, I think that I need to sort this by this element. Okay, I only have the time for emulate this behavior. Let me check. The first is that I apply this element and I start here. The index is the index 2. I need search by this. In this case, I sort by the star. The star is here. The length is the difference between this is 2, 2. This is 1. Keep in the same order in this case. And now I need one element that end after the index 2. In this case, this first value. Well, do you imagine that this is 2? Okay, it's only one example. Okay, this is 2. And the first candidate is this. Well, is 0, 2, and 2. Yeah, now move to the next. In this case, I have 0 to 2, and I need to compare again. Where end is end the length, sorry, the length is for example if 20, but I only have, for example, if this is 4 and this is 20, do you imagine that I have more elements? I am saying that I have range. Yeah. Okay. I know how know this. For determining which item or which query I need to apply, I need to know how many elements inside this range I can modify with this. For example, in this case, if it's 4 to 20, basically is yeah, I need to know how many, oh no, how many elements I have this between I and N. That is n less I, and this is the total of number of elements. Now use the, sorry, the 4 is the 4 n less position 0, that in case is 4. Oh no, yeah, n less 4. In this case, n is I don't remember what is the last is the pointer, this pointer, where in here in the 9. Uh-huh. Less 9, right? Case. And what is the last element here? Here is 9, 20. This is negative, means that is out of the range. What is positive? No, I don't know, but I need to make this calculus for no. For example, in this case, 0 to 2 is this. The other option is this, this, and this. I think that the okay, in this case, the best option is this, because affect the most elements. Yeah, the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, compared with the other that only affect one element. You know, I need to determine how many elements I can affect with this query, and after this, basically is reduce all the elements, iterate over this range, obviously, and update all the time the values. For example, in this case, if I apply this, I have, I start where? Here, yeah? I will write over this. In this case, the value is 1. Okay, this reduce in 0, 3, 0, 1, 0, 3, 0, 0. And obviously, meanwhile, I am doing this is update. Okay, this is 0, 0, 0. Okay, this is basically is discard. Yeah, because it's 0. Okay, means that I can change this by 0 and move this. Yeah, and I need to take this, and in this case, for example, is positive. Yeah, means that is the previous value plus 1 is 1. Okay, means that until this point, I have only one. Uh, I have only one integer. Means that this keep in this moment, and I need, I think, one flag for when happen this the first time, you can move another time this index, right? And now the next, for example, is 0. I am here. Here, the 0 is transformed to this. I need to take the first and keep because it's 0. Uh, I really hate this mirror, this new mirror. Now the next that is a new is positive. Calculate this. 2, 2, 3, 3. And in this case, obviously, I need to say what is the last element that appear with positive number. Positive number is this, not this, is this. In this case, for example, the last was this, the 7. Okay, and continue until the final, and where I reach the final, I know that the new position of the pointer, right, the right pointer is this, yeah, and continue and continue and continue. What do you think? Makes sense, or is I am overthinking? Yeah, because if this problem is a hard problem, or feel as a hard problem, I think that you need to use more elaborate or thinking solution. But well, I'm not sure. But I need to start with my work because it's a little late. But well, it's a very interesting problem. I will try. No, I will continue in the next transmission. But well, thanks for following this transmission, and I hope see you in the next. Bye bye.